Barak Tehawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rucha Kudash. Welcome to another live lesson. Just bear with me 1 second. The name of this one is The Direction of This World. I'm just trying to see if it pulls up because I'm not seeing it. Okay, yep, it's on. All right. I see it now. All right, so pretty much, it's called The Direction of the World. And pretty much this is based off of course, as you know, digitalization. So this lesson comes through the inspiration of an article I was just reading. I've been pretty much looking for a lesson to do all day. Just nothing was hitting me. So, sometimes you just have to patiently wait, for the Lord. When the Lord is ready, he'll give us what we have to, or what we need to bring out. And as I was scrolling through, just trying to find the lesson, I came across an article here from the World Economic Forum. This is the future of work, according to experts at Davos 2022. And I pretty much was kind of scrolling through and just looking at some of the things, and this caught my eye here. Impacts of the digital skills gap. And what you have to understand is that everything that we see today is heading towards something digital, which means everything will be online, computers, and everyone and everything will be logged in online. And this is pretty much what they want, because they want to be able to track everybody. This is the goal. This is why we always mention the interview that Alex Jones had with Aaron Russo, and what Aaron Russo told him that Nick Rockefeller told him about what they wanted to do. They wanted everyone C to the H to the I to the P. And that's total control, tracking wise, also, buying wise, because you will not be able to make any moves, without, that CH to the I to the P, and that's pretty much where they want everything at, the MOTB. So let's read a little bit of this. Is impacts of the digital skills gap. The PD accelerated the shift to digital because it was all planned that way. That's why you have people talking about dirty money, and you can get, this, that, and the other from the money, and blah, 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 so on and so forth. And now the great resignation, or great re-evaluation. As Adecco Group's CEO Elaine DeHaze puts it, has heightened the skills shortage. And pretty much she's talking about the skills shortage of being able to, getting everybody in tune with being or going digital. There needs to be a massive reskilling of the digital economy, because this is the direction that it's going in, right? It says to meet demand, and companies are not doing enough, says Ayman Esat, CEO of technology consultancy Capgemini SE. And pretty much, this is the plans of the so-called elite that have flunkies under them working to push this agenda. And that's why they're pushing it. And this is slowing the green transition and the transition of a digital economy, because ultimately that's what they want. They want the whole world, in the form of digital. Because once they get the whole world digital, then they can track everything and everybody, and no one will be able to move unless they play by the rules. All right. It says when we talk about electric vehicles, that's digital. When we talk about energy transition, we are in digital. When we talk about moving to a sustainable economy, all this is driven by digitalization. Now, when we look up the term or the word digitalization, it's the conversion of text, pictures, or sound into a digital form that can be processed by a computer. So everything being online in a computer, so you could have access. Just like now, if you need access to something, you type it up on a computer. What happens? Something comes up. You need a book. You don't have to go to the library. You can get it. You can either buy it online, or you can get an ebook, and you can print a copy of it, or you can read it online. You need any form of information, you can go online. And this is where they want everybody at the axis of a finger. A couple of keystrokes, and boom, they have access to the individual. And that's what they want. It's a total slave, world that's coming to where the elite, will be governing everything. Yeah, yep. Like the brother put up here, he said Domino's Pizza has the new commercial about ordering with your mind, right? And the commercial, I believe is about 3 minutes long. It's pretty much, something that they're getting people's minds geared to. So it goes on to say, let's read that again. When we talk about moving to a sustainable economy, all this is driven by digitalization. It's not just about automating processes. It's really about creating new platforms, new businesses, which has increased demand for what? Technologies. And what this brings to mind is Daniel, the 12th chapter and the 4th verse. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And that is this tech. The tech or the technology is being increased, because these devils have figured out or found a way to get their plans to go further in motion. And this is why for the last 2.5 years, they've pretty much moved everything pretty much at hyperspeed. Everything you see is going digital. You see a lot of these mom and pops businesses, fading away. The old way of thinking, the old way of money fading away. Most people today don't carry cash with them. They mostly carry cards. Most of them don't even carry cash on them. I don't use the card unless I really have to. I everything I do is cash. If I need to do, I might use the card, to maybe put a couple of dollars in the bank, and that's pretty much about it. Unless I'm in a position where I can't use cash, but so far, that's all I'd use, but you have a lot of people out there that don't even touch cash anymore, because knowledge shall be increased. And that's what this technology that's moving everything into a digital world. And that's where they want it to go. That's where the name of the lesson is, the direction of the world, which is what? Digitalization. So we're going to read some more. And pretty much this was the Heavenly Father giving this to Esau, these so-called elite, to be able to push their agenda forward. Because the Lord is the one that worked on their minds. It says when men are sleeping, then the Heavenly Father seals the instructions into their mind. You see? So whatever they do and whatever they got, they're getting it from the Heavenly Father Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because that's, where the direction of everything is going. Everything is going into the direction of being digital for purposes of tracking and for purposes of total control. Because once, as I'm not sure if that was, I believe that was J. Edward Griffin. Once someone has enough money to where they don't need anything, and they can not possibly spend the money that they have, the next very thing that excites them the most is what? Raw power over the people. And this is what it is. It's pretty much the world is heading in the direction to where you have to pray to Esau as a god, and the people that's coming to him for these crumbs will be the slaves. That C to the H to the I to the P, which is a MOTB, is nothing more than a badge of servitude. You know, in order for you to function, in order for you to move, in order for you to eat, in order for you to operate, you have to have it. You have to have that slave pass, pretty much. And what it is it's a total denial of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and having Esau to be as the Most High. You know, providing for Jake, especially for Jake. You know, and a lot of Israelites are going to get caught up in that. And Lord's will, we're going to get into it. So let's go real quick to the book of Psalms 64 and 6. It says, they search out iniquities. Why? Because this is something that they have done. They have something called think tanks. Think tanks are places where you have the brightest minds that sit there to come up with every and any possibility, the pros and cons of all of these different possibilities to move their agenda forward. That's why you have what? Colleges. Colleges are nothing more than breeding grounds for the so-called elite to be able to find the brightest minds to, indoctrinate them and to bring them in to the direct to help in the direction of the so-called elite's plans. So it says they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search because they don't leave any stone unturned. You better believe that whenever they put something out there, they have looked at every angle, every corner, every crevice, every question, the do's, the don'ts, the pros, the cons, everything about that particular thing that they put out. They've searched it out forward, backwards, sideways, up and down, whichever way you go. But the only thing is they don't count on is the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. They didn't count on that because they moved the Heavenly Father out of the equation. It says both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. Why? Because these are not things that they give to the common folk or the common people. This is why, for the most part, the so-called elite, the real ruling class, are not out there in the forefront. They're not out there in the public. They're not given shine like that. They don't want that shine. They want to play the background. The people that you see out there are little guys. They're talking about the richest people on the earth are these billionaires, Elon Musk and these clowns. They're nothing more than flunkies that bow down to the will of the so-called elite. That they allowed to get some serious crumbs, because they got more than crumbs. But they're not the super rich. The super rich, you talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars. Now you talking, money. All right. So let's go back to the article, and let's read that last part It says, matter of fact, let's start back up here. When we talk about moving to a sustainable economy, all this is driven by digitalization, which digitalization is moving everything online, taking everything and putting it in cyberspace on a computer so that you can access it by the keystrokes, by a few keystrokes. It says it's not just about automating processes. It's really about creating new platforms, new businesses, which has increased demand for technologies. You see? And this all goes into his inventions. All right. Matter of fact, since I mentioned inventions, let's go here real quick. This is Ecclesiastes 7:29. Lo, this only have I found, that the Most High hath made man upright, but they have sought out what? Many inventions. And that's the problem. Matter of fact, let's see what the word inventions is right there. Ecclesiastes 7:29. Let's see what the word there is. Inventions. The word there is chashabawan. Device, invention, engine, machination, which is actual, a contrivance, an example, actual, a warlike machine, or mental, or machination, or mental, a machination, meaning These are inventions that they create within their mind. Let's just look up the word invention real quick. And the word invention is the action of inventing something, typically as a process or device. Let's go to the word invent. I hate when they use the word to define the word, but it is what it is. Invent, create or design something that has not existed before, be the originator of. Make up an idea, name, story, etc., especially so as to deceive someone. And that's pretty much what they're doing. These are wicked inventions, wicked machinations, contrived by the minds of the so-called elite, right? Let's see. This is 2 Ezra 8:27. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies and afflictions. Yeah, because Esau is the top of the whole thing, but you also have so-called elite among the other nations, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Ishmaelites, the Elamites, so on and so forth, the Hamites, and they all are in bed together, pushing all of this agenda out there. So it says, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies and afflictions. Yeah, because ultimately we're going to need help from the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. That's why when Yahweh Shai comes back, 2 Ezra 13:37, and this my son shall rebuke their wicked inventions of those nations, which we just read about here. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, because that's ultimately where they're going to end up at, in destruction, because their whole system is going to collapse, and then they're going to go into hardcore slavery. Yes, and there will be enough foots and asses of Edomites and the other nations in the kingdom of heaven by the Israelites. Let's see. 2 Ezra 15:48. Thou hast followed her that is hated. This is dealing with Moab. Thou hast this is Moab. The Ammonites could fall into this. Elam, because they're all part of that Asian. Even the Russians, even though they're Edomites, they fall under, part of their nation falls under the Asian part. But this, you could apply this more to Moab, Ammon, Elam. It says, thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore, saith the Lord. So it's going to go into some more, go into something else. But the point is that they follow what? The inventions, because they are in bed with the whore. They have drunken of the cup of the wine of the fornication of this harlot, Babylon the Great, America. Surely he knoweth your inventions and what you think in your hearts, even them that sin and would hide their sin. And this goes into something else, but you could use this for the sense of the 7,000 men that have not bowed the knee to Baal, which were not going to be deceived, by, the tricks that Esau is pushing out there for everyone to fall into it. It says, for neither did their mischievous inventions of men deceive us, nor an image spotted with divers colors, the painter's fruitless labor. So let's go back to the article. It says, as moving to a digital economy is one of the future drivers of economic growth. So this is what they're saying. In other words, in order to get the economy back where it's at and for it to, bounce back and this, that, and the other, we got to hit the great reset, build back better, which pretty much is making everything digital so that there can be more jobs available to the working class out there, right? It says, as moving to a digital economy is one of the future drivers of economic growth, we do not have enough skills. We are slowing down the transition. In Nigeria, where unemployment is high and 60% of the population is under 35, young people are taking advantage of ICT tools and creating jobs for themselves in the digital economy. You see? It says, with support from the government, said Sainab Shamsuna Ahmed, the country's Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning. We are seeing more jobs being created by small entrepreneurs using IT systems. Between 2020 and 2021, 9 million new jobs were created. Simons has introduced an online learning platform for upskilling, said Judith Weiss, Chief People and Sustainability Officer, Siemens AG. We're trying to understand what capabilities are actually needed, how much of that talent is actually to be found internally, externally. How good is the local labor market? What are some of the demographic shifts coming up? And once we know that, we're translating that into learning paths for individuals. So we're trying to break down the big headline of talent scarcity and upskilling new needs into real roadmaps for the different job profiles. So pretty much they're collecting people's data, seeing where people are at so that they can use that, to push forward their agenda. And this is why Facebook and others were set up, for people to put all their information on this so that they can gather all this information from people, how they think, what they eat, what type of lifestyles they live, so on and so forth, because that's what they want. They want all of this online. Remember, they want everybody, they don't just want the people as slaves to be in this digital world, but they also want everyone to be compliant. They want to know what you think, what you eat, how you feel, how many times you do this or how many times you do that, and it's all about total control. Let's see what else we got. Designing the future of work. Many of the jobs of the future will be rooted in the energy transition. And those economists that don't understand the logic of the green transition will fall behind, said Sweden's Minister for Finance, Michael Damberg. Green industrial transformation is the most attractive thing you can offer to young people today, said Francois Philippe Champagne, Canada's Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry, Innovation, Science and Economic Development, Canada. But we also need a paradigm shift in the way organizations operate, said two of the panelists. Only 20% of workers are engaged, which leads to less productivity and poor health. So we need to create working conditions where people can learn all the time, said Jos de Blok, founder of pioneering Dutch healthcare organization, which has self-organizing management. We need to increase the flexibility by letting them decide how they want to learn and contribute. This is much ado about, not really much. But the point is, we're dealing with the digitalization of the economy. All right. And that's going into what? To the wicked inventions of Esau, to knowledge being increased in these times, because the Lord gave them everything they needed. They got, they sat down. This is something they've been thinking over and over and over and over and over and over again. And during the time of, the transition from the British pound being the world reserve currency to the US dollar being the world reserve currency, this is when a lot of those different groups, were formed, to have these different meetings of the future and the way that everything, the direction that they want the future to go in. This is what began that whole globalization. The idea was always there, but the nail in it was after the Bretton Woods Agreement. That was really one of the key time periods where that happened, because anytime there's a new world order or something new coming into play, it always begins with the economy. That's why everything is going digital. So when we go on, we read that. Let's go to Revelation 16 and 13. It says, "And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon." The mouth of the dragon is the Roman Empire, which today would be America and her allies. And out of the mouth of the beast, which is the EU and NATO. It says, "And out of the mouth of the false prophet, which is the Roman Catholic Church." It says, for they are the spirits of devils, and they are actually devils. These people are demonically possessed, and they are the spirits of devils working miracles, see? And those miracles are what? They're using technology for these miracles. This is why people can, that are paraplegics can have certain things inserted into their mind and actually move things with their mind. These are the miracles that they're pushing. People that weren't able to walk at one time are able to walk. People that weren't able to see at one time are able to see. People that weren't able to hear at one time can hear. So on and so forth. This is the wave of the future. They're selling people on the idea that they can live forever. Which, in turn, that's the left-hand side working, because the Most High, through his son Yahushua, gave the Israelites that option. If they accept Yahushua. Esau's doing the same thing on the left-hand side. Just like the serpent did in the garden. He said that if you, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. If you, learn the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you would what? Live forever. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made, and he said unto the woman, Yea, have the Most High said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? He knew exactly what the Lord said to the woman and to Adam. But this is how the serpent operates. They'll tell you things or say certain things, in a way to where it seems like an innocent question, but it's a loaded question. It says, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And that's exactly what the Lord told Adam and Eve, right? And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. For the Most High doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And what else would that entail? Living forever. And then that's how he deceived the woman. So in these times, what we're witnessing is the great miracles that these devils are pushing out there to deceive the world once again to receive this MOTB. So the word is say me on. It says a sign, mark, token, that by which a person or thing is distinguished from others and is known. A sign, prodigy, portent, an example, an unusual occurrence, transcending the common course of nature. Of signs portending remarkable events soon to happen. Of miracles and wonders by which the Most High authenticates the men sent by him, or by which men prove that the cause they are pleading is the Most High's, right? And this is what these devils are doing on the left-hand side. Let's go to 2 Corinthians real quick. 2 Corinthians 11 chapter is a bad chapter too, very heavy chapter. So 2 Corinthians 11:13, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Yahushua. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Right, so this is what they're doing. They're transforming themselves as angels of light and ministers of light of the Most High, with these great signs. And by that, people think, well, they got to be inspired by the Heavenly Father. They look at these miracles they're doing. They're helping the people out. But all they're doing is deceiving the people, just like the serpent deceived Eve. So it says, for they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of the power Almighty. And that's what they're doing, which is what? The battle or the war of Armageddon, which is the final war. And just like the Lord told Adam and Eve not to sin because they'll be naked, this is what the Lord is saying to us now. It says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments. Right, because we have a cloak to be able to see through the madness that's going on. It says, "Least he walk naked, and they see his shame." Right, just like Adam and Eve. The Lord gave them strict commandment. He gave them the tools that they needed. But what happened? The serpent came and beguiled them, deceived Eve, and Eve deceived Adam. So they were what? Naked. So the Lord gave us that in these times. So it's pretty much the same thing that was going on in the Garden of Eden. And the serpent is Esau, especially the upper crust, the so-called elite. So let's go to Revelation 9:18 and 23. And the light of a candle shall be no more and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. This is at the end when Babylon the Great, America, is destroyed. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And that's pretty much what it is. These wicked inventions, these miracles that they're pushing to the people, this technology of the MOTB, the metaverse, and the brain, C to the H to the I to the P, Elon Musk and all that. That's all part of the miracles, part of the sorceries that they're using to deceive the people. It says, and in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that was slain upon the earth. And for this reason, the Lord is going to destroy them. And this article I put in the description box for those that would like to read more of it. Revelation 19 and 20. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the MOTB, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone, because that's going to be the ultimate destruction, because their whole dreams are going to go up in smoke. Their whole dreams are going to go up in smoke. And once the smoke clears, so to speak, then the Lord will give us the power to go around the world, wherever they may be, in these different, bunkers, and kick the bunker in and cart them right into slavery. So everything is going to die in those bunkers, meaning their whole dreams and aspirations and this whole new world order. That's why the Lord said he disappointed the devices of the wicked, of the crafty, that they cannot perform their enterprise. So it says, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, that white horse, Yahushai, which sword proceeded out of his mouth. And all the fowls were filled with their flesh, meaning with the flesh of these captains and military men, All right, so with that, this has been the direction of the world. So with that, I pray that you brothers and your few sisters have been edified. Until the next time I say, Shalom.